everybody. This is Dr. Pyung-Ho Kim from Usong University. I currently teach pre-service teachers in early childhood education. My title of the paper is Scientific Misconceptions Held by Pre-Service Teachers in Department of Early Childhood Education. This is the agenda. Of course, I'm going to talk about the statement of the problem, why I pursue this study, followed by method, results, discussion, and conclusion. I'll start with the introduction. The importance of teaching science is being emphasized these days a lot, especially because of the fourth industrial revolution, as well as the level of uncertainty that rises a lot. And children show intense level of interest in science, thus coming up with various questions regarding natural phenomena that are happening around them. And here's my question: are teachers ready to answer the children's questions regarding how the airplanes are flying, how the boats are floating on the water? So my assumption was that teachers usually have no accurate scientific knowledge, and they are not so much ready in order to answer the children's questions. Of course, we can use some fairy tale in order to answer those questions, but we cannot use them for a whole time. I found out that pre-service teachers have a lot of misconceptions in terms of the science, as well as lack of knowledge in science, especially in the subject areas of global warming, chemistry, physics, astronomy, physiology, geology, and others. I believe that recognizing the problem is the first step to resolve it, so this study is going to look for what misconceptions or some lacking knowledges that pre-service teachers have in terms of the science. So these are my two research questions. One is, to what degree do early childhood education pre-service teachers hold misconceptions regarding scientific knowledge? And the second research question is, what attitudes and mindsets do early childhood pre-service teachers show regarding the misconceptions they have in the science subject areas? Let's go to the method. This study was held in a four-year university in Daejeon, South Korea. There are 94 pre-service teachers who participated. 48 were freshmen and 46 were sophomores. Well, it's not specified here, but the majority of the participants were female. It's not a surprising finding. A set of questionnaire was given with the 4 questions about some scientific subjects. I'm going to talk about what those 4 questions are in details later, followed by semi-structured interviews with 20 randomly selected students in order to find out what kinds of attitudes or mindsets they have regarding some misconceptions or lacking knowledge in terms of the science subject areas. So the set of questionnaire given to the participants regarded subject matter, 4 seasons, roles of blood, and mammals and reptiles. Of course, these 4 areas do not cover every science subject, but I believed that these 4 kind of represent the science subjects. Followed by a series of semi-structured interview. So in this interview, I asked the 3 following questions: the importance of scientific knowledge, level of scientific knowledge, and amount of misconceptions that pre-service teachers may hold. So this was the question: assuming that each subject has same mass, which one consists the most volume, liquid, solid, or gas? Assuming that each subject has the same volume, which one consists of the most mass, liquid, solid, or gas? The second question given to the participants was, what causes 4 seasons? Number 3 is, what is the role of the blood in our bodies? And number 4, how can we distinguish mammals from reptiles? This is the rubric that I used in order to rate students' answers. So all of these have the correct or good answers that the students were supposed to give. And out of 5, they were rated based on this rubric. All right, let's talk about some results. The results were kind of depressing or daunting. When I look at the results, it's pretty depressing. I found that a lot of pre-service teachers have lacking knowledge in terms of the science subject area. Particularly, if you look at the roles, if you look at question number 3, the roles of blood in our body, well, that has the highest score, 2.93 out of 5. But if you look at the subject matter, liquid, solid, and gas, that kind of question, it scored 1.49, which was the lowest rank. But I was not surprised to find it. And these are some answers that students gave. I'll just read it out. Number 1, she said, or he said, gas for volume and solid for mass, which is not correct. Well, because the Earth rotates and revolves. Yeah, that kind of touches the answers, but not exactly. Providing oxygen is okay, but there should be more answers than that. Mammals bring forth its young and reptiles lay eggs. Well, that's not really true because birds lay eggs and they are not reptiles. So they don't have correct or accurate scientific knowledge. I saw a lot of I don't knows or I'm not sure's. There are some good answers, but not accurate. For number 3, he or she said energy for the role of the blood in our bodies, but I don't know what energy is referring to actually. Again, some of I don't knows. Now I'm going to talk about students' answers regarding the mindsets or attitudes they have about certain questions in terms of their scientific knowledge. The first question is how important is it for the teachers to have sufficient scientific knowledge when it comes to teaching science to the children? Well, one of the participants said that it is important so that we can answer the children's questions. Also, the more we know, the better we can teach. I think it is important when giving because if we give incorrect science knowledge, the children are going to gain some incorrect knowledge. It is important because, it's importance, I'm sorry for the typo. It is important because teachers' scientific knowledge can foster children's creativity and imagination. Teachers have to accurately know it so that we can help children answer the questions. The second question was about, do you think you can properly teach science to the children with the scientific knowledge that you are having right now? And of course, I saw a lot of no's, and they were kind of depressed or they were discouraged by the level of scientific knowledge they have. No, because I have no interest in science and I don't know much about it. I'm about in the middle. The children would bring questions about things that I may not know. No, I should improve my current knowledge by studying and researching more so that I can teach the children. And the last question for the interview was, to what degrees do you think you may hold misconceptions in scientific knowledge? One of the answers that I liked was, I don't think I recognize my misconceptions because I don't have sufficient scientific knowledge. Because I like accurate and detailed scientific knowledge, I suppose much of the knowledge are incorrect. All right, let's go to the discussion and conclusion. Generally, there is a very low level of scientific knowledge that pre-service teachers hold in early childhood education. I don't know how the system is like in China, but in Korea, in high schools, we have 2 tracks, mathematical tracks and verbal linguistic tracks. And most of the female students who came to early childhood education department took the verbal linguistic tracks. Well, because of that, I think those female students have not much idea about the science. That may be a reason. Misconceptions and lacking knowledge are working as a barrier when it comes to teaching. And we have to recognize the difference between the lacking knowledge and the misconceptions. I found a heightened metacognition level among the pre-service teachers, and students were worried that they would not be able to teach science properly to the children because they were lacking in terms of the scientific knowledge. But I believe that it is better to recognize our misconceptions. I think it would be better for the pre-service teachers to recognize their mistakes than just thinking that they know more than they actually do. So instead of listing similar problems that other studies have found previously, I would like to propose a few solutions. One is correcting and improving the content knowledge. In early childhood education, we tend to focus more on pedagogical content knowledge than content knowledge. So I believe it would be a better idea to focus on the content knowledge. For the future researches, these might be a good topics for anybody who's interested in this type of theme. What science areas give the most confusions to the pre-service teachers? We can develop some programs to categorize pre-service teachers' misconceptions and other subject areas that could cause similar confusions. For experimental study, we can compare how differently these two groups answer children's questions related to natural phenomena or any science-related area. Pre-service teachers with accurate scientific knowledge background can answer differently than those with low level of scientific background knowledge. Well, that concludes our presentation. Now I'm open for some questions.